Can I start a stream without being muted? Please? 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 All right. I'm canceling the stream. Good morning, everybody. I've done that 3 times in a row. I'll get it someday. Someday I'll be professional enough to hit the damn button. But maybe not. All right. How's everybody doing today? Lovely Friday. We've got the 2-week carnivore to vegan experiment update video today. Should be a good one. Yes, I agree. It is a new maneuver. Man, to do all this stuff, it's very hard on the brain. And then usually, like, when I'm about to go on, I'm like, oh shit. And then I always think I'm close, but then I'm actually 5 steps away from getting the stream up. And then when the time comes, I'm always trying to, like, at least I'm on time these days. Anyway, how's everyone doing? Like I said, we have the 2-week carnivore vegan experiment today. And Joe and Chase will both be joining us, of course. And we'll talk more about that once they pop in. What's the process? The process for starting a stream is insane. So first of all, you've got to schedule the stream correctly, which requires some settings and getting your description and all that stuff, which is tedious. And then you've got to change settings on the stream once it's made, once it's created. Then you've got to copy and paste certain information into another program called OBS, which allows me to actually link my computer, all this stuff you see, to YouTube. All right. And then that's all pre-configured. So luckily that's set up already, which like would take somebody an entire day easily. If they knew what they were doing, it would take them a day. And then from there, once you're actually ready to launch the stream, of course, by then you've already got your thumbnail uploaded. You've got all that stuff done. You would go to YouTube. You got to go to your little creator events panel. And then you've got to go to the live control room. start your broadcaster software, OBS, which you guys probably already know what that looks like, but anyway. And then you've got to sync it with YouTube. So like you start your broadcaster and then you have to hit preview, play, and you've got to refresh the screen a bunch of times. And then finally the thing lets you sync up and then you hit start broadcasting and then boom, you're here. And the reason why I always start muted is because I start with music and I mute my microphone on purpose so that if there's any sound going on in the room in the last few moments while I'm like shuffling around in here, which you guys of course don't see, I don't want it to be transferring to the microphone. Like I was shutting my window and all that stuff. And then of course I unmute myself 5 minutes into the stream and you guys missed my entire intro. Anyway, settings. Yes, I love settings. I'm actually obsessed with settings. That's why I like doing all this diet stuff. Like I'm a settings person. I enjoy this shit. Testing the settings is all about how you get the best results for everything. OBS is an absolute pain. Yes, it is a little bit complicated. So, hope everyone's doing well. We'll let the chat continue filling in. The boys will be joining us in about 7 minutes. And any plans for the weekend? What are you guys doing? Any vegans out there that want to eat some meat on camera with me? I'm trying to call that in today. I need some vegans who are ready to step out of the vegan box. Hopefully today's experiment update will inspire some people. We're 2 weeks into the experiment. Feels like time has gone so freaking slow, man. Like I'm so worried about these guys. I was so worried about these guys actually just continuing on. It's such a big life change. It's one thing to snap your fingers and say, hey, 30 days, no big deal. I'll eat meat, I'll eat vegan. But then you got to actually do it and kind of document it. Interesting. Very tough to do. My personality type is an ENFP. I'm an ENFP-assertive. Like 90% assertive ENFP. What I think that means to me is that I am very consistently this character personality type. I don't deviate at all. I've taken that test on every different website. Like, I've tried to give it different answers, and I still get ENFP. Like, solid ENFP. So, I guess that's me. Eco Steve says he would go vegan again for $5,000. Dude. Yeah. That's what it would cost me too. I do vegan for a month for $1,000. That's a solid buy-in. I'll do it for $1,000. Yeah, if you guys are interested in the personality test, I really recommend taking it. It's really entertaining at the very least. If you guys have never taken the 16personalities.com personality test, go do it. It will definitely kill a few hours of your Friday. If you guys are stuck at work or whatever. I definitely recommend getting paid on company time to watch this entire interview and all my interviews while you're at work and also enjoying internet stuff. Rosie ENFP. Yeah, I think it's about 50% of vegans are ENFP. For real. There you go. Get paid, get entertained. Awesome, Lester. You work for yourself. I'm an aspiring entrepreneur as well. I've launched a couple business, or one business, I guess. If you want to consider this a second business, it is. Actually, I do have other businesses along with the YouTubing aspect of it. Of course, I do coaching on the side. And I will be launching a product that will be kind of a one-on-one coaching program that will take people from just your average desk sitter to getting good, healthy results. Some good gains and stuff that they can do and still maintain a regular lifestyle. That's what I want to bring to the table, is like fitness and health for the average person who wants above average results. Ha! Just came up with that right now, guys. Don't steal that shit. The stream couldn't be at a better time. Why is it such a good time, New Brunner? Tell me. What have I done to deserve this? You're just alive, bro. We'll probably be going here for a solid 2 hours. The boys will join in a few minutes. I would do raw fruitarian over cooked vegan any day, but would rather not do either. Very interesting. Yeah, I think if I had to do a 30-day experiment, I could potentially enjoy eating a ton of fruit and maybe some cooked vegan dinners. I wouldn't do smoothies. It's terrible. That's cool, Lester. Awesome. Train people for powerlifting. And you do it for fun? You got a trust fund set up over there or what? Yeah, raw vegan is not the way for most people. Cooked makes me feel sad and beanie. Whatever that means. Any specifics you guys want me to cover with the gentleman today? Do you guys want me to ask any particular questions? What are you interested in hearing from them for a 2-week update? I know that there's probably going to be a couple vegans lurking today that are going to want to hear about Chase's experience particularly. No, I do not train Elise. She is going to the gym now on her own, and she is stoked on it. Chase got smaller eating meat? Okay, I will ask him about that. That'll be interesting. Yeah, we'll ask them about their energy. I'll even write some of this stuff down. How's your energy? How's your focus? How's your weight? I'm going to ask about skin and hair. Ooh, and digestion. Yep, somebody said poop. You said the magic word. This channel, it's all about poop. Strength. Good call. Brain fog with Joe. That's an assumption. It could be Chase too. Chase could have brain fog as well. We don't know that he's doing better on the meat than on the vegan. Might have to say, Planetary Farm says, ask Chase if he plans on going back to vegan. I might have to say, that might be, that might be an end question. Any different reactions? Have I gotten any different reactions from vegans recently, individual or general? I haven't gotten many negative reactions, at least from this experiment. It's almost all support. Even from the vegan side, I think that they just lurk. They don't comment. You can tell when vegans really have an issue, when they think that they have a point, is when they comment. If they don't think they have a point, but they just don't want to support the channel or don't want to support me, they think I'm a bad guy, they think I'm whatever, then they just thumbs down the videos. I can always tell like how bad I'm whooping their ass based on how much they're disliking videos versus how much they're commenting. If they're actually commenting, then they feel pretty confident. Doesn't mean they're right. I mean, vegans are always wrong, like 100% of the time. So, yeah. All right, I got a few questions here for him. Energy, focus, weight, skin, hair, digestion, libido. It's pretty much covering. I'll add strength as well. That's the last thing. All right, we've got a Chase. We've got a Chase, Benny. We'll wait for Joe, I suppose, Chase. Can you hear me, bud?
Yeah.
Cool. Welcome. Good afternoon. Salome says, I agree. I just wish they could see what is happening, but the honeymoon period is seductive. Yes, it is very seductive. We need Ron Paul girls. I would almost borderline want to interview Ron Paul girls. He claims he's like in his 60s or something, but he types like a very young person. Who's your favorite vegan NPC? Oof. That's a good question. Well, I think we'll just pull Chase in right now, and then we'll let Joe fill in. We'll get a little bit of chatter going with Chase here, and let's pull him in right now. Chase, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good.
Welcome to the channel once again. A lot of people have given me some questions for you guys. We'll kind of wait till Joe filters in to start covering the good stuff, but how's everything going? How are you feeling today?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a long question. Been quite the
Sounds
journey.
like we've got a lot to cover then.
Yeah.
Awesome. Looks like we have a Mr. Rice now. Beautiful. Joe, how you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. How are you?
Good, man. All right. So, let's say we get right into it, yeah?
Absolutely.
By the way, Joe is a total trooper, guys. He's getting married this weekend, and he still was down to do the interview today. So, what about us? Let's give him a... That guy's dedicated to science. You're dedicated to the vegan diet is what it really comes down to, Joe.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So, I've actually put out to the audience here some questions to ask you guys, which was actually very helpful. And I've got some written down here. So first off, I want to just kind of start off real slow. We've got 2 weeks in to the vegan to carnivore experiment here, guys, and carnivore to vegan experiment. These guys are doing 30 days each where they have basically swapped diets for the month. We had a willing 10 plus year carnivore or 10 plus year vegan in Chase right here. And we had a willing participant in Joe who has taken Chase's diet for the month. And basically, he is now consuming what Chase would normally be eating. So kind of an interesting situation. And it feels like 2 long weeks. Dave, welcome to the chat, by the way. 2 long weeks here. I want to also point out these guys have both done their own blood tests with the help of Dave Feldman, actually. Very, very, very intensive blood tests that are extremely expensive. It would be like what professional athletes get or people under scientific experiment parameters. Now, we did discuss with both of you guys, have either of you guys looked at your blood test yet, or have you guys legit kept it under wraps?
Got no idea.
Beautiful. So I talked with Dave Feldman, just so the audience knows. Chase and Joe both took their blood tests at the same time before they switched diets, and they have agreed to keep the results private and even hidden from themselves until the experiment is over. So at the end, we are going to test them again before they switch diets back. And then Dave Feldman will come on the show with the guys, and we're going to do a live breakdown of the test. We're going to talk about the delta changes between the first blood test and the second blood test. So Dave's in the chat with us here today, and basically, let's let the updates begin. So, guys, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
And I wanted to ask, I kind of briefly brushed on it with Chase. It sounded like a long answer, so I want to get back to that. Chase, how are you doing today, buddy? You said it's a long answer, so I want to get into that a little bit. Let's see.
It's a big change. So there's been ups and downs, and I definitely feel more tired than I want to be.
Okay, so today you're tired. You've been tired. Is that a consistent theme?
Yeah, I did kind of. It was worse before, and then I kind of got I thought I was over it, and then it's just kind of a reoccurring theme to this 2 weeks is just kind of feeling like lethargic or low energy.
And
Now, there's some caveats to that. I mean, I do a weekly like circuit training, kind of core strength training, and we do some sprints yesterday. And there's definitely, I felt extra burst in my sprinting. I felt okay during. I mean, this is something the same training basically I've been doing for 6 months or so, and I did feel a little bit of an extra burst during like more high intensity, but overall, like through the day, it's kind of lackluster, I guess.
just briefly, how? So I do want to tell people like Chase is going full in carnivore, at least at first, right? So
Yeah, so there's the definition. So there's like, carnivore is like just straight meat and salt and water, basically. Or no, I don't have that strict of. It's not as strict as that. I can pull up some of my Chronometer food logging just to give some examples. But my macros have been 10% carbs, and that's including whatever's in if I have whole milk or if there's something in the food. So 10% carbs, 60% of calories from fat, and 30% calories from protein.
okay, sounds pretty well rounded.
Yeah, so it's 70 grams of carbs a day, 170 grams of fat, and then 200. This is actually the average over the last 2 weeks. So I'm not
Very
just
nice.
pulling like one day. It's the last 7 days because I don't have Chronometer Gold.
And you said that your carb calories are coming from animal foods like dairy and milk and stuff like that, or are you eating like external stuff? All
animal foods. Yeah, everything is. If I've had like yesterday. Let me pull up one of these days. Sirloin steak. I had what?
Gotta zoom in on Joe's face there when you said the sirloin steak.
It's too lean, man. There's not enough fat.
Basically, my meats have been beef and salmon.
Okay.
I had one day where I had chicken for a birthday party, but meat, beef, whether it's a steak, ground beef, or a roast, and then salmon usually for the fish, and then what was the other thing? Oh yeah, eggs. So I've usually it's looking like I had 8 ounces of eggs that day. So I kind of feel like I fill out the calories with eggs.
How much calories are you eating on an average daily basis?
It's averaging 2,500.
Okay, cool. Is that pretty much like maintenance for your size and everything like that and activity levels, do you think?
I feel like I was eating a little bit more. Maybe I was like 3,000 calories was more normal for high carb vegan.
Okay. Let's pause here. Let's get a little update from Mr. Joe. Joe, what can you tell us kind of in regards to all that? I mean, I don't expect you to be chronometering all day, every day, but I've seen your meals actually, and you've been posting them on Instagram. By the way, go follow Joe, guys. I'm going to link, or they're both their channels should be linked in the description here. So take it away. Sorry.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping track of calories or macros or anything, but I have been eating more than what I was previously. I'm sure, because most of the time I'd go 2 to 3 days without eating previously. But yeah, I mean it has been an adjustment. It's been different, but for the most part, digestion's okay. The burping and the farting's just, that's nuts. That's crazy.
So you've and
But
I want to be clear though, because I specifically vetted you guys. I filtered out any applicants who were having these kind of issues before the experiment. One of the reasons we brought Joe and Chase in specifically is because they did not have any known issues, especially regarding digestion, before the experiment started. Especially Joe, he was eating 100% carnivore and doing like an intermittent fasting type of protocol where he was essentially skipping days of food, and you had no digestive issues going into this experiment whatsoever. And
no,
so
I've never had digestive issues. I mean,
Right.
I've never had an issue my entire life. It didn't matter what I eat.
The rock solid stomach.
Yeah. And I really haven't had too much of a problem with the digestion with this. It's just, it's not necessarily a problem with the digestion, man. It's just, there's just a lot of gas and bloating, and
Okay.
it's not something, used to when I was the omnivore, when I was doing, the standard American diet. I never really knew exactly what everybody, sure beans, give you gas and things of that nature. But I didn't really, when I went carnivore, it was a long time before I really realized that, there was no gas at all. And now coming back to this, it's like, man, now I remember what it was like.
Okay. Before we spoil all the juice, all the juicy farts, Chase, how's your digestion been? It's actually one of my questions here. I wanted to ask you guys both. So we kind of got a little update there from Joe. How's yours been?
Digestion, it's something I don't really think about, I guess, because it's like maybe there's like a bowel movement every like 3 days, or I should have been tracking it, but it's just I don't really notice any gas. I haven't had any really, maybe like 2 farts this whole time. And then
You could count the farts on one hand.
I think like there's probably been like, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe. I should have tracked the poops too.
Well, the fact that you can track the farts is it's not going to be Joe's situation over there. So, all right. So that kind of answers a little bit about digestion. Is there anything in particular that you note? Like, is there any theme that's just in the back of your mind that's just consistently hitting you every day? What would you guys say if you could sum it up in like one sentence? What would you say? Chase, we'll start with you.
I just saw in the chat people are talking about different foods and salt and stuff. So just to add onto that, it's not just meat. So I've got whole milk yogurt. I've tried goat milk. I've tried some cheese. Everything I choose, I'm not just choosing like the standard like Kraft singles cheese or anything. I'm trying like some of the higher quality stuff. And what else did I have? I ate some liver.
Nice.
So
you've been getting into the exotic.
Yeah, so I'm basically trying all the things people are telling me, and salt on top of that. I think it's sitting right here. Like I have the salt with me all the time. I bring it in the car. I forget it in the car, and then it's like dinner time. I'm like, oh, where's the salt? It's in the car because I used it for my lunch on the go. And that's the weird thing about this whole thing, like adding so much salt to things. And I've taken electrolytes too. So there's an electrolyte sports salt type of capsule that I've taken too, because I've been recommended to do that. Okay. Things I've noticed, there's definitely some positives. There's definitely some negatives so far. Positives, there have been times I eat a meal and it's like, I'm not even hungry for dinner. I mean, there was a time where I had lunch at noon, and then we were supposed to have this big family get together where they were going to have a beef roast, and they were all excited that Chase was going to come and he's going to eat some beef with the whole family. And I was just like 5:30 came around. It was almost like 6 o'clock. And I was like, I can't go. Like, I'm still so full that I can't even think about food. I like didn't want any more food. I think I ended up eating at like 8 p.m. that day, like some salmon.
Mm-hmm.
So that was actually it was like, people talk about the satiation or being full longer as a positive thing. And that at that point I was like, I actually wanted to go and eat with the family, but yeah, I definitely didn't feel like I could eat more. Nostalgia is kind of positive. Like, I'm eating foods that like my mom made me when I was a kid, like the roast and ground beef and stuff. Bonding. So I talk about bonding with socially. It's like, as a vegan, you can't go really to a grill out without being a little bit ridiculed because you're bringing maybe you can put potatoes on the grill or something, but being able to like bond with people in a different way. And then I think this did show me that I was probably I was not getting enough protein or fat when I was doing high carb. It's kind of helped me reevaluate a little bit of that, just like throw a bunch of carbs on your plate and call it good. I think a lot of vegans do that, where they just think, well, if I'm getting like rice and sweet potato and beans, like I'm hitting all my macros, right? Well, you're not. It's still very low in some of the things that we need. So I think if I'm seeing some of the flaws in how I was doing vegan. But yeah, some negatives coming up right away were like the body odor. And I'm the last 5 years or so, like I really didn't really use deodorant because when I sweat, it was just like water. Like, there was no like smell to it. So now it's like I need some deodorant because the smell is there whether I really sweated that day or not. I feel like my wife is always asking me to take a shower now, like before we go to bed. So I guess that's one of the negative things that I've noticed right away.
Cool. Well, Joe, we'll pop over to you if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Anything like that? Just kind of like little positives, negatives that have been hitting you?
Yeah, I've noticed, especially over this past week, that I'm having an issue with. I mean, I guess it's inflammation, just joint pain and stuff coming back after fairly minor activities, like 3-4 hours at work, where I'll typically work maybe a 10, 12. Even this past week I had a 16-hour day, and after 3 or 4 hours, my legs are sore and achy, and so I'm guessing that's the inflammation from the starch, from the carbs that I hadn't been used to. That was normal before I started the carnivore thing, but hadn't been an issue for the past 8-10 months. But that's started kind of coming back, so that's stinks a little bit, but it is what it is. This past week I haven't been putting all my meals on Instagram just because I was traveling. I was in Virginia for the week, so I was really just eating yellow squash, zucchini, mushroom, and apple with balsamic vinaigrette on it for dinner, and then some apple with almond and cashew butter. So that's been my meal for the past 4 weeks, with a little bit of like an orange thrown in here, there, orange or peach. And then obviously my bulletproof coffee in the morning with coconut oil and MCT oil in it. But but yeah, a few skin issues, some acne popping back up here and there, which had been an issue for the majority of my life, and had gone away since last year, since I started the carnivore thing. So that's coming back a little bit.
Is it bodily or like on your face, literally?
Yeah, well, some on my face. Like I get blackheads a lot around my eyes and nose. Not terribly noticeable unless you get really close, but bumps on my back and on my legs, and a little bit on my arms, on the underside of my arms, but stuff like that. I mean, it was used to be typical, and then we got rid of them, and so now they're back. So not something that I had attributed necessarily to diet. I had really more considered that to be genetics or whatever, but yeah, it's been a noticeable difference. So that with the joint pain and everything. So
okay, so you mentioned a bit about the skin, Chase. Any noticeable? I was gonna ask you both actually, like skin and hair differences. What you guys have noticed there. So maybe Chase, have you noticed anything with your hair or skin in just this past couple weeks?
No, I was surprised I didn't notice anything with I don't know. I watched all those videos of like the vegans with sunken eyes. I was like, maybe that will make my eyes look differently. And I've been taking picture every single day. So I've got like the progression. I've got more of a close up so I can see my face. Then I've got like a body shot, and not much difference. I know in my face, I went to go see a friend. He's like, "Whoa, you lost weight." I was like, "Hope I didn't," but not really lost much. But like going from like 150 to 149 as a morning, like right in the morning weight. I take my weight every day on this thing, so that's not really like I lost. I mean, 2 pounds is almost nothing, but I think
It was 2
I
pounds or
noticed
6 pounds?
it almost seemed like my cheeks got carved out. Like when I looked in the mirror, I was like, wow, there's almost, people talk about water weight. So I don't know if that's something that may have just dropped out or whatever.
Yeah, I would say it's water weight, because I gained about 6 or 8 pounds pretty quick.
Yeah.
Adding the carbs back in. So once you drop the carbs out, that water, your body doesn't need that to process those carbohydrates and the inflammation that's caused by them. So
I agree with that
stuff.
There may be something where like cheese or something, people talk about, everyone's got a different affinity to these different things. Like, and I haven't had cheese in a really long time. Ancestrally, I kind of been looking into like ancestral, people try to follow what their ancestors ate. And like, I'm Norwegian, German, Scottish. So I'm all up in the meat and dairy kind of spectrum. And I grew up eating standard American diet. So I didn't think I'd have any problem, but I haven't had back knee in like forever, probably 5-6 years, and just kind of noticed a little bit more of like my back. I don't know if it's related or not, but it just kind of seems like a couple little where you get like a little bit acne on your back by the spine. But took a picture of it just because I'm trying to track every change that happens. But
have you guys? Okay, so we talked a little bit about digestion a bit, and we also talked about a little bit about the satiation Chase mentioned. How is your guys' just overall enjoyment and satiation of the foods? How is that going for you? I guess we'll start with you, Chase.
So here we are at day 14 or something. This is right after 2 weeks.
Yep.
At first, it was like there's sort of like a excitement because I'm trying something new. the taste and the flavors almost seemed like I needed something. I needed some of that. It seems like my body responded well to it right away. And even just getting past some of the first fatigue sort of symptoms, I still enjoyed the flavors. Like I looked forward to transforming that frozen or thawed out, raw meat to cook it and turn it into something that's like really juicy and flavorful and add my salt to it and all that. So I really just the last couple days, it's just kind of been it feels like too much. It just kind of like, okay, gonna have some beef again, and you've suggested switching it up, different kind of meats, but so far it's like a lot of the people in the carnivore groups on Facebook and everything I'm reading carnivore, like a lot of people do stick to just the beef, and there's a few reasons why. And so, yeah, it just kind of feels like I don't want any more eggs, or I don't want any more beef.
Fair enough. Okay, so what about you, Joe? How's your overall satiation and enjoyment of the meals going these last couple days, I guess?
I don't really feel satiated too often. It just feels empty. Is the best way to describe it. I mean, I can eat the volume, and then it's just like there's nothing there. I mean, I can eat until my till I'm completely full and can't eat another bite, and I just never actually feel like I've replenished my stores, if that makes sense. I mean, it's hard to explain, but
well, we're kind of seeing that explanation right now because Chase is basically he's sick of his food. He doesn't really even need to eat. He even mentioned that he was going to go to that barbecue and basically had no appetite.
Well, that was one of the things. I mean, that's the reason why I found it so easy to lose weight on carnivore, is because you can kick the food addiction because you don't need multiple, this kind of food and that kind of food. It's just one food. You eat one food and that's it, and you don't need any other food to go with it. And so you can kind of lose your appetite for that food, but what that is you're losing that food addiction. You're kicking the addiction to feeling like food is something that should be interesting. I think food should be more, it's to refuel our bodies. I mean, I eat to live. I don't live to eat. I made that decision, and when I made that decision, it really kind of turned my whole life around. And I feel so much better off for it.
Now, how's your, we hear a lot about people's mental clarity and things like that on the vegan diet, or perhaps even going to the carnivore diet, certain calmness and focus going on. And I just want to hear from you guys, like, have you noticed any mental effects, any type of how's your mental focus? How's your general ability to think quickly and speak well? Are you noticing any changes there?
I think for the most part, for me, focus not really an issue. Maybe a little bit more easily agitated. So, yeah, I mean, not terribly. I'm not snapping at anybody or anything like that. I've always been able to kind of hold my emotions in check. But at the same time, I do feel myself becoming a little bit more, like I said, getting more agitated more quickly.
Is anybody else noticing, or is just you kind of picking up on that on yourself?
It's just me. I mean, I keep my emotions in check for the most part. I'm an ENTP, so I internalize virtually everything.
The thinking personality type. You guys can suppress better than everybody else. Chase, what about you, buddy? How are you feeling as far as focus, mental clarity, things like that?
I think my mind is fine. The first effects, first couple of days, first week was it's pretty good because I kind of felt like I could spend a little more time doing other things, and I felt like I was able to be more present with my kid, my wife. So I'm not sure what that was. If it was just, compared to what I maybe 3 weeks ago before doing the experiment, like I was a little bit more. My mind had to be kind of racing and on to the next thing, and keeping track of things or trying to find goals to meet. Whether it's with work or just my mind is the type that needs to be obsessed with something. So that first week, I definitely noticed I didn't need to be obsessed with, I don't know, some outside thing. I could just spend a little bit more time being like more present with people around me. Now I'm not sure if, I'm not sure what's going on now. I kind of feel like, I don't want to knock this too bad. Like, I don't want to get on here and be like, this sucks. But
No,
there's
you
been
should.
days where I'm
You
just
should
like,
absolutely
it kind of
share
sucks. I
as
feel
is.
very, very low energy. Like when I eat a meal, it's like I need to just like zone out and like sit down or lay down and just kind of zone out for 30 minutes at least. Like, I'm so used to, you have a meal of like, a banana smoothie and you're just like ready to go. Like I'm out the door. It feels like everything digests so fast and you just, you grab and go basically. And now like I have to actually sit down. Chewing is another thing. And I think that's a really good thing because biologically the digestive enzymes, it's really good to chew things. See all those vegans are like, chew your smoothies. And it's like, I'm not going to pretend chew all this liquid, but they have a point because they're trying to get those enzymes to release. And yeah, I've had to like really sit down and like chew, and it takes me a while to get through a meal when before I could kind of eat on the go.
I just want to make a note based on my experience, and I don't want this to be something where I'm like tainting the results here, but
yeah,
if you are consuming like 2,500 calories, which is it's not a lot, but it's, if I don't know how many times a day you're eating.
Usually two meals, and then I have some kind of a snack meal that's like I mixed like kefir with yogurt, and so like there's like a few of those like snack meals, but mainly it's like two larger meals, and I weigh my stuff too. But
and your weight's just flatline consistent since the initial first 5 pound weight loss or 6 pound.
Me, the weight of my body.
Yeah.
No, there wasn't like initial. It was kind of a. It goes up. My weight has been basically flatline. I mean, I would say maybe net loss of like 2 pounds over this 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, there wasn't anything drastic on that end of things.
I thought it was a 6 pound loss. I thought you went from 155 to 149.
No, I thought I was. I guess I thought I was 155, but then when I started the experiment, I clocked in right at 150, and then it was like 149, 148, 149, just kind of hovering around there.
Got it. Okay.
And I've added a little bit. So there's like another positive is that like I feel like I have enough calories where like I see my weights out in the living room, and then I just like pick them up, and I do some like throughout the day. I go and like I feel like there's enough energy like that I wanna lift something. So I've done a little bit of that when I don't know if it's like just lower stress. I can focus on things like that because with my work, I kind of run around town and do and just kind of like busy. I don't have a 9 to 5, so I can easily like be a workaholic.
Let's talk physical strength. You kind of mentioned that, Chase, but we'll pop over to Joe. Joe, you mentioned a little bit of the fatigue / inflammation. Can you translate a little bit more in detail regarding like just actual physical strength? Chase kind of mentioned that he is sort of inspired to pick up weights and move them around a little bit.
Right.
Do you notice any change there?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I haven't noticed any change in strength at all. It is probably a little bit less motivated to exercise. I mean, I do still try to get out and walk and run a little bit, but as far as going to the gym, of course, it's tough for me just because of my schedule anyway. But so I typically try to run, close to the house. But yeah, I mean, probably 2, maybe 3 times since this whole thing started.
Okay, but just in general, like not necessarily like your bench press maximum went up, but just you got to walk some, I don't know, some bags up the stairs, and you got your hands full. Like, are you noticing any difference at all in that respect?
No, not at all. I hadn't been doing a whole lot of strength training previously, so I didn't think starting that right now would be a good idea. But yeah, I mean, probably something I'm planning on doing once I get once this is all over with, and see what I can do with that. But yeah, I haven't noticed any drop off or increase in strength at all since starting.
Chase, what about you, buddy? You said that you are a little bit inspired to pick up the weights, but are you actually noticing any difference there, or is it just like you're more, I don't know, inclined to actually work out?
I think part of it could be just that I'm doing some experiments. So I'm kind of like focused on myself throughout the day. I like think about myself or my health. That could be part of the reason where it's like, my normal routine, months prior to this was probably not really thinking about myself much, just trying to think about my work or my family. But now this kind of turned the focus on, I'm doing something special. I don't know. I don't want to like throw off any results because my before and after might look like I don't know, more strength or whatever. But I've been I think anybody knows it's not, you don't just eat a food and it gives you a muscle. Like you have to actually use the muscle.
And you have been training consistently for like 6 months, you said?
What's that?
You have been actually training for relatively consistently for the past 6 months or so, you said?
That's just kind of a normal, I think of that as a normal maintenance routine. It's not like it's been a goal of like adding muscle or anything. It's been, I just go with my brother-in-law's to a fitness. They've got a personal trainer and she trains all 3 of us.
Cool.
So that's been a normal thing for me, but like I said, the food itself is not just automatically growing a muscle, but it's having enough calories, I think. And now I've got another guy who's trying to help me, and he's saying, you're not eating enough calories. But I feel like I'm getting enough of something that it's inspired me a little bit more to pick up the weights more often, which has led to, it's kind of like an overlapping, like discipline. You need some energy to have discipline, but you also can't just consume the energy and have no discipline. It's not going to do anything.
Well, something that I like to say is, people talk about like where motivation comes from, where true motivation comes from.
Yeah.
And this could apply to anything, but in my belief, a big part of motivation, at least in the long term, comes from results. So anybody out there who's listening to this, you need to start finding some success in whatever you're doing in order to maintain that level of motivation to keep doing that thing. If you just fail forever, and we're not dumb, we're not going to do something that we're really bad at, that we're getting no results or negative results. We're just going to stop that activity. So I find that interesting when it comes to like muscle building or this type of stuff. If you're getting better at it, you're feeling like this internal motivation to then get you in there the next day and the next day and the next day. So I just wanted to point that out to people.
And this is kind of a weird experiment because we're taking 2 people who were, like, for the most part, pretty happy with what they were doing. And now we're doing something that we almost don't want to do. And so
that's the
a
beauty
lot of
of
people
this.
start carnivore because they're like, they really want to lose weight, or they've got some gut issues, and they're so motivated, so they'll push themselves through some of the fatigue in order to get to that result. And I'm sitting here going, I just want to get to day 30 so I can like just figure out what I want to do from here.
Chase needs a banana smoothie. No, that's great. And I want you guys to share, like, man, I would be very happy if Chase came in here and was just like, this sucks. Like, I'm I'm doing this for the experiment. I'm gonna stick out the 30 days for the people. But dude, like, this is great. This is bringing validity to the whole carnivore versus vegan thing, because, I don't want both of you guys to just come in. And again, this is not me skewing the results. Like, I want whatever is going to come out of this. And we could have two separate people. Like, let's say we run this experiment again after this is over. They could have completely opposite results of you guys. You know what I mean? But the best thing to do is just keep sharing as we go and being honest about it. And, I think that is part of the whole beauty of this thing. And it's just an observational experiment. It's interesting. That's really what it is.
Well, one thing for me, I think, just coming from where I was, there's been no honeymoon period. I mean, everybody talks about the honeymoon period when you switch to veganism, and that's what gets you hooked. It's not a honeymoon period for me at all. I don't. Yeah, I think I was doing just fine before. And so that's why I was comfortable doing this, because I know I can go back to doing that, and I believe I can recover from any damage that's done. I do expect my A1C, my CRP to both be up at the end of this month. But I mean, we'll see about all that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I can kind of feel the inflammation.
I have a couple more juicy questions to ask you guys, but before we get into that, because a lot of people are asking, and don't worry, guys, we're going to get to that question. But how's, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is completely subjective, how much are you missing your old diet, Joe?
12.
12.
Is there a 12?
There's a 12. There's a 12. Chase, what about you, buddy?
For me, it's something close to like 8. I mean, I don't know if I'll go back fully straight vegan. This has been kind of a mind-opening experiment, but at the same time, I miss it a lot. I miss being able to have a little bit more balance or something. I don't know. Maybe I didn't have balance before, but I feel like I'm off balance right now.
Do you feel like you're going to maintain this 100% carnivore edge that you have going on through the 30 days, or will you add in some broccoli and rice or something like that, which would be totally okay just for everybody's, everybody's
you say it's okay, but your chat says no. Like the experience of this has been 10 out of 10, but that doesn't mean it's like all good. So for me, doing this, I knew something would happen mentally, and I knew, I was prepared for this could be bad. This could be bad for my health. I saw Goji Man drop in the chat. This would be bad for my gut, and I understand that. I was watching Goji before I even decided to do this. And I'm like, man, I should fix my gut. Maybe. But there's these viewpoints on all different sides, and that's why I had to just try things for myself. Because you guys talk about like vegans saying, oh, you didn't do vegan right. If anyone goes ex-vegan, they're like, you didn't do vegan right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sitting here doing this stuff, and they're all like, well, 10% of your calories from carbs is too much. You're not actually keto. So it's like nobody really... Do the keto carnivore people know what the right way to do it is? Because Sean Baker's muscle meats, he doesn't do much. Does he do much of the head to tail eating? Like some people are. He
started going head to tail and incorporating more organ meats. But I think for the first 2 or 3 years, he was just basically just ribeye, like 5 pounds of ribeye a day. Which, you can do fine for years, but, eventually you probably will come up with a little bit of a deficiency here or there. That's why I had the eggs and, if you can add eggs and raw milk to your ribeye, New York strip, whatever muscle meat you're eating, then that's everything you need. With a little grass-fed butter here and there.
Mm-hmm.
You can probably get away without any kind of liver, heart, brain, all that stuff. But yeah, eggs are almost the perfect food. Eggs with a little grass-fed butter. But
well, I just find that interesting that Goji Man did say that. I actually thought that was a troll account. I didn't realize it was actually Goji Man saying that. I read that. He said that Chase is going to run into gut issues for this experiment, and it's what's interesting, just objectively speaking here, because we've been talking to these guys for the past hour or so. Joe is the one with the digestive issues at the moment, if anything, and Chase is the one who's not even thinking about digestion at this point. So it's interesting. We'll see what happens when, if Chase were to go back 100% vegan. It will be interesting to see if for some reason now he can't digest plant foods or something like that. But again, this is all part of the observation of this experiment. So let's get into some more questions here, guys. People wanted me to ask, specifically Dave Feldman wanted me to ask about your sleep. So how is your sleep? How restful is your sleep? How are you waking up from your 8 hours of sleep? Anything of note there? Joe, we'll start with you.
Well, my sleep's a little off because I work shifts anyway. I work night shift during the week and then switch it over to sleeping nights on the weekends. So that usually, I wouldn't necessarily look at my sleep and try to make a determination off of that, just because it's not consistent enough. Like Sunday, I woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, somewhere around there. And, by a little after midday, I was driving to Virginia to start a job in the middle of the night and work there until about noon the next day before I went to back to the room and to get any sleep. So, I dozed off for a couple of hours in the truck in the middle of the job just because I was having a rough time as the sun started coming up, circadian rhythm. That tends to happen as the sun rises. But yeah, I wouldn't look at my sleep and say I haven't noticed any big difference. It's not necessarily that it's less restful. Now, I did not this past weekend before last weekend. I don't know. I think I may have been overeating on calories, but I was just burning up in my sleep. Just absolutely on fire. My fiance usually lays her legs over top of me. She said she was afraid she was going to get blisters. It was like covers off, bare naked, butt naked in a 72 degrees house, and I was sweating my ass off. So that was that's different. I think that just comes down to a calorie surplus, and my body's just trying to burn off the excess. Is what I think that came down to. But.
Interesting. Okay. What about you, Chase?
I haven't noticed a lot of difference in sleep. The benefit I talked about before, where it felt like I could be a little bit more present. It seems to be a little bit easier for me to just relax at the end of the night. I'm not sure if that translates to better sleep, deeper sleep. I think I wake up pretty normal. But being able to just kind of get ready for a normal bedtime. Sometimes I like I said, my mind is a little obsessive, so I'll end up reading or researching and doing stuff at night where I should probably just be chilling out and doing more relaxing things. So it's been easier to relax at night, except the last couple of days where I'm just getting sick of this whole experiment. was wondering how bad Joe was doing. I was like, do you want to do 21 days instead?
Yeah.
No, but
What do you think? You guys think you'll be strong for the rest of the 30 days?
I mean, I'm going to stick it out, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if there was I mean, if there were an easy option to just stop it right now, I wouldn't be opposed. But no, I still want to stick 30 days out and you know, kind of sprint to the finish.
Yeah, well, I think we're in the home stretch here, and I would hope that, like any diet change, it's hard to just do the thing to begin with. Like Chase, when he first showed up, everybody was making fun of his meat. The first day he ate that meat, they're like, "That's overcooked. That's this. That's." I'm sure the way that you're cooking today is different than the way you were 2 weeks ago, and you know, you guys are just falling into a little bit of a rhythm. So hopefully it just gets a little bit easier in terms of like preparing the stuff, you know, and then it's just like routine at that point. And then boom, two weeks goes by real quick. So I hope that we can finish this out. I think that it will be great. And this has been a very good 2-week update so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to stick it out. It's not, I mean, I'm not going to, I'm not giving up for any reason. It's just
Chase, you.
I kind of wish we'd have stuck. We'd have went with like 2 weeks at the beginning or something. I don't know.
I'm the same. Like, if I'm all for the
experiment. 30 days really going to tell us that much more than 2 weeks?
So he wants to cut it short. I want to cut it short.
People are worried about you, Joe.
No, I'm good, man. I'm good. Nothing a little steak can't heal.
Hey, we're 2 weeks in. I think the 30-day experiment is good. And I knew going into this, and I even prefaced the audience before you guys came on, I was like, these guys don't know what they got themselves into. Like 30 days, it seems like nothing before you do it. You're just like, all right, I'm going to snap my fingers. I'll be vegan for 30 days. Like this thing's going to fast forward. But like, no, you got to actually do it. You know, you got to go buy the beef and you got to go buy your watermelons or whatever the heck you're eating, Joe. So yeah, it's definitely.
Well, yeah, I could go for 30 days and just eat a bunch of fruit and, but that would have, that wasn't the spirit of the whole thing. So yeah. I didn't want to like try to cheat through it or anything like that. I wanted to give it an honest try. So
I'm confident in you guys. I think you guys got it. And I think the 30 days is important because we know, especially in Chase's case with the whole keto flu thing, that I think there needs to be at least that amount of time to make whatever adaptations. And I'm not even saying that that's all it's going to take. It may take months to become like super adapted and used to these diets. There would be changes for you guys going out. If the experiment were to be 3, 6, 9 months out, there would be more changes that would go on after 30 days. But Joe's going, hell no. All right.
Hell no.
All right. So the last big question, boys, gentlemen, everybody wants to know, how are the boners? We need to hear about the libido. Any noticeable difference in the libido?
None
Joe, you're getting married tomorrow, so
no difference.
Just always a 10 out of 10.
I'm prepared for my to make the marriage official.
He's consummating, guys. He watched the Game of Thrones. He's seen what needs to be done after the wedding. Chase?
Fine. It's not any better.
You recently made 2 babies. So.
I mean, I'm rating my boners. No, I'm rating like the actual energy levels on that part of my life. I mean, it just seems like with the lower energy levels overall, it's just kind of, it does leak into sexuality where it's like, there's not I don't know. This is kind of oversharing, but yeah.
You can share as much as you'd like or as little as you like.
Part of it is like feeling heavier and feeling like I'm almost always like they've got food digesting. I think that takes away from like a lot of different things in life. So that's one downside.
Very interesting.
Because I kind of, I saw these people with their like, carnivore like restores your sexual libido, and like I just was like that. I don't agree.
See, I feel the exact same way with the complete opposite diet.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm constantly trying to digest food, and like my gut's constantly, I'm like bloated and gassy, and I'm like, nah.
Interesting. So what we're kind of seeing here is a consistent thing across the board for both of you guys, that your bodies are adjusting to this new way of eating, and that's kind of interesting. It's not like one is the silver bullet. Okay, your digestion is perfect tomorrow. You guys are both kind of experiencing the same symptoms, but with the opposite diets. It's kind of cool, and it's kind of how it should be if you would think about it. I mean, Chase, you've been eating vegan for 10 years. And then you're switching over to all meat, and then Joe's doing something similar, maybe with less time invested in the carnivore thing, but still, I mean, it's gonna take time to switch over. I would think, that would be part of my hypothesis. So
yeah, I think a lot of the things we're experiencing probably just mirroring each other, because I think eating vegan is very simple. Like cooking is simple, preparing food is simple. But it's because I learned over the years, and it just became easier and easier. Now I'm like, okay, I went and bought a crock pot. So I've got my slow cooker for the roast. And then now I have my cast iron pan. So I'm learning how to use that and how to get that greased up and seasoned. And I didn't have a grill before. So I like picked up a grill. I need to like get a propane tank and like all these things that like meat eaters need. And I didn't have. Steak knives, fortunately, we did have steak knives, which are almost useless on vegetables. Like
they are. The serration usually,
yeah. So we had the steak knives already, so that was all right. But yeah, everything's just an adjustment. You need all the equipment and.
See, this time of year, there's two things I need. That's a grill and a little nonstick pan. That's it. Nonstick pan for the eggs and a grill for the steak.
Uh-huh.
So what I'm also noticing, and I just want to make this note and tell you guys, is there's so much chatter towards you guys in the actual chat box today. So maybe just like scroll through, read. If you guys see anything directed towards you, you could, of course, completely ignore all of it and not even take it as advice whatsoever. But I don't want the suggestions, or good or bad, to be coming from me. I'm trying to remain as impartial as I can, but there's lots of stuff being thrown your way as far as like, hey, try this, try that. If you want to go that route, I'm just saying there's a lot of people shouting at you in the chat. With
Primal says I need all these different salts and HCl. I don't know what even that is. I'm taking I'm using a lot of salt on my food, and I'm taking sports salt supplement, which is magnesium, potassium, and sodium.
So
like he's talking about like bile salts, because your body hasn't been used to digesting meat, so you're trying to catch up a little bit. I think that's what he's referring to.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was gathering there, was just like another thing I was going to mention too, which a lot of people have this issue, is just drinking too much fluid around their meal times. So when you're first starting out with carnivore, like you probably don't want to drink any liquid at least an hour before you eat, so that your body, your hydrochloric acid has the best potential to actually digest the food, rather than being like watered down by your liquids. Which, as a vegan, I was always drinking. I was like prepping for dinner by like drinking water, and now it's the complete opposite. I actually just don't drink that much water in general. But all right, so the last question that I will ask you guys, and feel free to expand upon this as much as you'd like, but what would your advice be to each other right now, 2 weeks in and 2 weeks to go? What's just anything you want to say, like try this out, cooking, if this happens to you, do this. What would you say? I guess we'll start with you, Chase. Or Joe. Yeah, we'll go with Joe.
Well, yeah, I was going to tell Chase, man, get more fat in you, add more grass-fed butter to whatever you're eating. And if you have bacon, hold the bacon grease and pour that over whatever you're having later that day, stuff like that. Because you know, that lack of energy that you're feeling is comes from a lack of fat in the diet. That's where your energy is. So I would increase the fat a little bit if it was me.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, Joe?
I don't think so. You know, hang in there. It'll get better. I do believe that by the end of it. You may not realize it, but if you try to drink a smoothie at the end of this, it'll be sickeningly sweet. It sounds like from what you're having. I mean, maybe some of the dairy is, you know, kind of keeping that desire for sweet at bay, but yeah, that was one of the things that after I'd been carnivore for a month, trying to eat something sweet, it did not taste at all like it had for the years prior. So watch out for that. But yeah, hang in there.
I did notice that when I had a piece of steamed broccoli, it was really sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. It's like something you'd never have imagined that was sweet, and that's really, I mean, that's how much carbohydrates are in it. Your body's just not used to it, and I can tell that I feel like I'm needing more sweetness to my meals now. Where, you know, things.
At first, you were salting your fruit. Are you still doing that?
To some extent, a little bit, not too much. I mean, this past week I was traveling, so I didn't really have all the conveniences of home. But yeah, no, a melon has to be salted properly, or you just don't eat the thing.
It's funny because I've never salted my melons.
Dude, salt your melons, I'm telling you.
I'm sure
down in
it's
the
good,
south,
actually.
like they do things a little different down there.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to get the salt in, man. It's good for you.
I am definitely with the salt these days. I can say that.
Hey,
Chase,
I'm telling you, throw some salt on a cantaloupe, a honeydew melon, or something. It's good stuff, man.
I remember
Chase,
when I
what do you
was
think?
traveling in South Carolina that they grow a lot of watermelons there, so there'd be like the produce markets have a lot of surplus from those farms.
Yeah.
And so we get a lot of watermelon, and some of the locals would be like, "Yeah, put some salt on that."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Have you ever tried it?
I think I did try it after it was some like Carolina person who was like, "Yeah, try salt on it." I don't know. At the time, I was way into sweet things, so I was like, it's okay, you know. But like, it's different because you're like really into the meats, and you like that flavor.
Yeah.
Any advice for Joe, Chase?
Yeah, I think what I've seen, your meals look very low in calories, in my opinion, because without the amount of fats, I mean, the density of calories is really really low, and when it's rice or some of the salads.
I put on like 8 pounds last week. So
Yeah, I know, and I'm no transition expert. I have no idea what's really going on, but
well, that's the reason why I kind of dropped the calories a little bit and went to salads and just tried to decrease the volume of the starchy carbs.
Have you put any foods into a tracker, like a calorie tracker, chronometer, anything like that?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't.
When I first, and this is like for a lot of people when they first start plant-based, is you aren't going to get in as much calories because it's lower fat by the design of the plant. So, and you could find other plant foods that are a little bit more dense in calories. But yeah, like tracking it at least for like a day or two, just so you get a sense of how many calories you're actually getting.
Yeah. Well, I am getting about 300 calories in the morning in my coffee. So, I mean, that's fat calories from the coconut oil and MCT oil.
Yeah, like I have this jar of ghee. It's like grass-fed ghee or whatever. So I add that to things, or I've dipped I had a beef stick and I dipped it into the ghee and I just like scooped it. Like, okay, it's good. But I
Oh man,
knew
that
I
sounds
knew I
great.
needed more. So I'd taken some of your advice. I'm gonna like reinforce that. In
Yeah,
the
because
coming
one thing,
days.
if you get too much protein, your body turns that protein into sugar
Mhm.
and or into glucose, and that can cause your insulin to spike.
Yeah.
And so when your insulin falls back down, that's that sluggishness that you're feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, my advice for you would be just to track for a day or two. Y- It's annoying to have to type it in because you have so many ingredients. Like you've got a variety,
Yeah.
you've got your
Oh,
lettuce and your apples and your but just to put it in, just to give you a sense of how many calories are in that food, because it's a lot, probably a lot less than you think. And if your energy is low, you might be sitting there, you type it in and you're like, oh, I only had 1,500 calories today. And that's like not enough for like a teenage girl, so for someone who works and you've got more body mass, like maybe that's my vegan advice.
Well, I mean, I'm used to eating probably closer to like 2,500 calories every 3 days.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Yeah, you're kind of coming off of like a, because
yeah.
when did you start the whole losing weight thing?
Last July, I
Yeah.
went carnivore for about I don't know. Well, I mean, I've been carnivore ever since, but I started intermittent fasting probably a month or so after, and then more long term fasting about 2 months or so in.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, my metabolism's probably a little low, but
Like you're like someone who like you had a full tank and you were just trying to like empty the tank almost. Like
oh
you've got
yeah,
so much stored fuel, stored energy on the body, you're just like trying to burn through it.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and so part of doing this, with eating every day, and I think part of that is part of my weight gain has just been my body readjusting to the constant feeding, being
Right.
in a constant fed state. But at the same time, I don't want to be in a constant fed state, so I do try to still intermittent fast to
Yeah.
some extent, just because it feels good. I hate feeling fed.
One of the things I'm actually like you said, eat more food to Joe, but Joe's already saying he's like kind of full and maxing out as it is, but
Yeah.
obviously he's coming off of eating very low volume food. So as a vegan, you're used to eating such a huge volume of food. Maybe your stomach's just a little bit more stretched out. And also you mentioned like basically going poop every few days. And I think that the carnivore diet has been criticized or maybe even falsely critiqued in this regard because there's such little fiber going into the food that there's not much mass to begin with. But also, if you guys take into account a lot of the people going carnivore right now are vegans or ex-vegans, I mean, if their stomachs are stretched out and their colons are stretched out, they probably just have a bigger tank than like an average carnivore does. Like most carnivores are saying over time that they're using the restroom on average once a day. And it's really what I'm noticing is it's really the ex-vegans that are going to the bathroom every few days when they go carnivore, if that
Well,
makes
no, I wouldn't
sense.
go that far because I went over 2 weeks one time.
Wow. Okay. Well, but you were doing an extremely low calorie on top of. It's not like you were eating to maintenance
Well, no, I was
every day for
refeeding. I
months.
was refeeding on the weekends and
Mm.
eating pretty good volume. I mean, cheese, meat, crudité platters, whatever. I mean, I was eating quite a bit on the weekends.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, never felt any kind of constipation, discomfort of any kind at all. And I couldn't believe it at the end. I was like, damn, when was the last time I went?
Mm.
Like I had to sit there and really think about it.
And now you're probably going how much?
Oh yeah, it's once a day.
Constant flow.
It's not. I wouldn't call it constant, but a whole lot more than I was used to.
All right. So, well, thank you guys for sharing with each other. That was cool. And I think that we might wrap this up now, unless you guys have any last final words. And then we'll see you guys again in 2 weeks for the blood test with Dave Feldman. And that'll be
Are there
very
any more
exciting.
questions from the chat?
Yeah. Any questions from the chat for these guys, and we'll let them go on their way. Joe's getting married tomorrow, guys, so he's probably got stuff to do. Let me scroll up a bit and see if there's anything pertinent up in here. Yeah, we had Goji Man in here. I invited him on after you guys sign out today, but he said that he's traveling. He can't make it. I wanted to know more about his statement regarding Chase's digestion getting messed up for this experiment. I think that's a bit of a fear tactic, in my opinion, but
Definitely.
that's it's just, I don't know. That's a classic vegan thing to come in here and say, drop the bomb, and then bounce out with no backup to it whatsoever.
You can see his, and I don't really know if he's right or not, but you can see on his channel, like, the focus really is like the gut biome, and that's like probably when he talks about like anyone who has problems on vegan, it's probably that's the only reason. And so like I see how he's very focused on that one issue. Not saying it's wrong. I have no idea, but
I think one of the arguments is, especially if you cut the plants out of your diet completely, the microbiome that are supposed to break down that plant material, that dies off, and when you go to add them back in, you won't be able to digest them properly. But my understanding that, I never had any problem, so, I went for, I was well over 6 months. I didn't have, anything but the trace carbohydrate that's in an egg white, was pretty much the only thing that, only carbohydrate that I had, and zero plant matter at all. And when I went to add that stuff back in, I didn't have any real issues. The typical stuff that comes up when you ingest fiber, but the bloating and gas and all that stuff. But as far as the ability to digest it, I don't think that's got anything to do with, that those microbes are going to be there regardless.
Yeah, it's not like you're pooping out whole broccoli pieces or potatoes. Like
maybe chia seeds or flax seeds. You're probably pooping those out whole, but yeah, you're going to digest, broccoli or whatever. Fine. Just don't eat it raw. That's not the kind of stuff you want to eat raw anyway. But.
Sanka asks, do you think you will continue eating this way long term, Joe and Chase?
I will not. No.
I kind of asked this question earlier for anybody who's now tuning in. Joe is looking forward to going back to carnivore, 12 out of 10. Yes, 12 out of 10. And Chase is around an 8 out of 10. And they both stated that if, a nuclear bomb dropped right now and this experiment had to be canceled immediately, they wouldn't be opposed to it, but that they will continue on like hardened soldiers that they are. Any questions, guys? Any questions at all? Get them in.
I'll answer that one. I don't think I would continue the carnivore thing. For some reason, just like there may be some science backing it up, but it's also like overlapping with some science that doesn't back it up or pushes against it. And so looking at all the studies, there's just so much confusion, and thinking logically about it, like if humans have been eating plants for thousands and thousands of years, it just doesn't seem like it makes sense that they're all toxic. I think sometimes like people go, there's some people in the chat, or Primal Edge, the plants are toxic, all plants are toxic. That doesn't make total sense to me. But I understand the point. So for
I'm with
me,
you on that, by the way.
probably going back accurate to something. My wife guesses that I'll go back mostly plant-based and then have like fish or beef like once or twice a week, like twice a week or something. And that seems manageable. I'm not absolutely fired up to like go back to plant-based and like try it and prove it right, because at this point my loyalty to any camp is very low. Like I don't feel, I'm not really that motivated to like get points for one team or the other.
Fair enough.
So I'm just gonna, at the end of the 30 days, I'll see how I feel, then go from there.
What does your wife think? Is she? I mean, I know you said you were really worried before about just because food being something that you guys bonded over and things of that nature. How does she feel now that you're 2 weeks in about you including those animal foods?
There have been some hard conversations or times where she just, was like, it's like she's been maybe a couple days like she was sad or just wanted to be able to bond. And now if we go to a family thing, like she was the only one not eating the meat when it was before it was us two, a united front. We're both not eating meat, so we'd figure it out. So that was hard, but now she's totally over that. She's I'm not oversharing by saying this. She doesn't really care that much. She's tried salmon. She's pregnant now, so she usually has eggs when she's pregnant. So it's not accurate to call her vegan, I guess, because of she has had eggs like in the past, even before this experiment. But adding like some salmon here and there now when I have salmon. She still hasn't tried any like beef or anything, but I think it's been overall really good for us because being in a box for too long, nothing wrong with a box if all the rules of the box are correct, but it's always good. I think it's healthy to just like get outside the box, think about it again. If you got to go back into, if we go back fully vegan, then this experience has helped shape our views on it and also gave us a little bit more understanding of why people go carnivore in the first place. So it's been eye-opening to just be able to like jump in like a carnivore group and see what they're talking about. The thing about it though is like I've been through many groups, and you go into the 80-10-10 fruitarian group, and they're all afraid. They're all afraid of the bad foods,
the cooked food,
the animal foods, and then you go into the carnivore, and it's like people are posting like, "I just ate some fruit. How do I detox it?" And everyone's like, "Eat some bacon. It'll be all right."
How are your kids eating, Chase? If you want to share that,
congratulations, Bob.
Our kid or what?
People were asking, how are the kids vegan? Are your kids vegan? Stuff like that.
She is 2 years old. She's vegan, but we slip in some eggs sometimes, like French toast. We can kind of get in. If we've over this last 2 weeks, we've been like, you want some food? And we always encourage her to try new foods.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like she doesn't even know what to do with meat. Even with like when kids have the plastic food on their play set, like they've got like the kitchen and like the fake food. She'll always play with like the bananas and oranges, and she doesn't know what to do with like the piece of chicken.
Vegans would love to hear that. There's no natural instinct.
That's the funny part, because I'm not like that about like, I'm not like my kids have to be vegan. For us, we just want to feed her what we think is healthy, and obviously there's really some bad stories of people feeding kids vegan technically, but the kid gets sick or kid dies, and that's really sad. And I'm not sure if it's just like again, it's like one of those things. Did they do vegan wrong? It's like you shouldn't use almond milk as infant formula. I mean, we did breastfeeding.
I think you have to go very wrong for that to happen, for your kids to die on a vegan diet. Like, I don't think it's an instant killer. I just think that, me personally adding in onto that, like, that you can survive out of it. There's many kids that do it. I've seen healthy kids as a vegans.
Totally.
I don't think it's optimal.
So that's the thing. And like talking to Dave Feldman too, he's like, this is a weird frontier because we're studying this stuff and we don't quite understand all of it. He's like, I've got vegan friends who their blood tests are like perfect. I mean, there's not, it seems like we all want like a hard and fast answer, and I really do want an answer, but I don't know if I'm able to find it.
Well, yeah, I think just doing stuff like this, public, transparent information, getting out there, blood tests, is all the information. It's like, let people do what they want with that information. You know what I mean? Like, I think that all these little cults that form, even if it's a carnivore, even if we're talking about the carnivore cult, and trying to say that this one thing, just ribeyes all day, is perfect. And I like Sean Baker, and I have no issue with what he's doing. And he's even frank about like, hey, if something changes for me, if for some reason one day I'm not feeling awesome, I'm not setting world records, then I'm going to consider eating something else that will maybe help me out. Whereas, and I always make this point, on the vegan side, they trap you inside of this little box so that even if things aren't working well and you try a million different things within the vegan diet, they're still telling you, hey, you can't try that animal food. You're this bad person. And all I want to do is open it up to the fact like, hey, try it out. Be open-minded enough to give something outside of that a shot. If you've tried everything else, exhausted all your options, remained ethical as much as you can to your interest level, your beliefs. And if the animal foods don't work for you, then just go back to the plants. You know what I mean? Like, there shouldn't be this, you're all of a sudden a criminal and you lose your vegan privileges if you need to try out something outside the diet. I think that's where people are getting it wrong, specifically.
I totally agree with you. And I see these people you can easily make fun of the vegans who are really messing up. You know, they're basically anorexic and they look really bad. And you're like, if they just tried something different, you know, but they're trying to stay inside this box. And I'd rather have someone be, go back to eating like it's a more balanced, maybe not standard American, but sometimes standard American diet's a lot better than some of those extreme vegan, extremely restricted, orthorexic, afraid of every ingredient. Always feeling like they need a detox. And it's like, there's nothing left. There's nothing in your body that like needs to get out. You've detoxed everything. Detox. You got your bones left. How do you get the bones out?
Oh man, Chase, you're almost angering me just hearing about that. And it's
so I'd rather have people like eat standard American because, like, I mean, my grandmother lived till she was 90. Now, granted, the last 20 years it wasn't that great of health, but she lived and she got to see her great granddaughter, and I think that's better than dying early because you held too strong to some dogma. I was acquainted with several people in the vegan movement who end up dying from malaria. They die from something because they're so anti-medicine, anti-doctor. They think the water fasting or the fruits are going to just heal everything. And so it's important, especially now that the internet is such an echo chamber. You watch one video that's like carnivore, and then every other related video is like carnivore. So everything becomes like self-affirming, and you get isolated from other
Google
groups.
Hits you with the related interests. Of course, it's all pro whatever the hell you just watched.
Yeah. So it starts to affirm yourself, and you become even more isolated. So I think really, really important for people on any side of this debate is that you don't just listen to your own tribe. Talk to other tribes, talk to other perspectives. Doesn't mean you have to believe it, but consider it, because there could be some hangups or blind spots. 10,000 people could be walking off a cliff. So you need to just talk to people of different viewpoints. I mean, overall, I've met, since this came out, a vegan friend. When you're vegan, everyone adds vegans on Facebook. So I've got all these vegan friends I don't even know. And one of them, I know she skips family functions because her family still eats meat. It's like, don't isolate yourself that much just because of food. Well, it's ethics and animals and stuff too, but don't do that.
I wanted to add, and I actually just saw Ted Cars in the chat. I was going to talk about Ted because you mentioned that fasting thing that the vegans have to do, and I just recently watched Ted's video on the fact that he's going to go on a raw fruit cleanse soon. So what I'm guessing is he's going to do is like a grape fast or something like that. But it's just so interesting that he's already a fruitarian, and then he's needing to step out even further than that to do some sort of raw fruitarian cleanse.
Yeah, what are you cleansing out at this point? Like this many years of pure, the correct food.
Yes, and that's exactly right. Like he's already been doing 8 years or so, or 8 to 10 years of the perfect human diet. So what are you cleansing at this point? You're fucking cleansed, bro.
I get it, and I like his stuff. I think I watched his Instagram, the last live stream he did. I like his stuff, and I like him as a person. Yeah, it's just sometimes it's like I think he might have a legit reason. Fasting is like a cultural thing. Like people do fasting just to clear their mind or to do different things. Like the general public might watch the channel and be like, "Holy crap! He needs to detox." I think I don't know.
So I think we'll end here for the time being. Leave him wanting a little bit more, and we're gonna have you guys on again in 2 weeks. And now what I am gonna end with is, I think this would be a little bit interesting for me, for the audience, and a lot of people are making their little assessments of you guys right now already 2 weeks in, and I'm going to do that after you guys leave. You're free to watch the channel if you want to after you guys pop out of here, but I'm going to give just a kind of an assessment of what I think is going on, just my reaction to you guys, because I've kind of had to withhold that while interviewing you guys today and not spoiling the
So you don't mind if we just sit around in the chat and troll your ass, right?
You get on your fake account and you can troll my ass in the chat. All right. So
all right. Have fun. I gotta run.
Nice seeing you again, Chase. Take it easy, man.
Yeah, nice seeing you too. We'll
right, man.
we'll keep on, and I'll watch this stuff later because I gotta run. But this was really great.
All right. Take it easy, man.
See ya.
Thanks, Drew.
Yep. See you, Joe. Have a good day, man. I appreciate it. Have a good wedding this weekend, my man.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Be in touch. All right, bye.
Later. All right. So there you have it, guys. We have the 2 week update. That was really great, actually. We went super deep into a lot of the topics. We asked the men about their energy, what they're eating, how much they're eating, their general focus, their weight, skin, hair, digestion, the satiation of the food, how much they're enjoying the food. We asked them about their strength, their sleep. They gave a bit of advice to each other. And of course, we asked them about libido as well. So we pretty much covered everything that I could ask for. And we did have a few people pop in. Goji Man, we got Megan Elizabeth in the chat. We got Ted Carr in the chat. We got a lot of people interested in this experiment. It's actually become more intense as the time has gone on. And what I mean by that is that as the days go on, you feel the stress of the situation for both the guys and, well, it's really all on them, actually. I can just sense their frustration a little bit with their diets, what they're eating. Joe's not having the best time. As he said, he's having a little bit of digestive discomfort, a little bit of gas and bloating. Chase is tired. So they're both going through it right now, and I feel for them both. So big shout out to both of those guys for donating their bodies for these 30 days, and not only their bodies, but their time and their money investment. And these guys actually paid for the blood test on their own from Dave Feldman. We got an insane discount on these super crazy blood tests. They're like $1,000 blood tests, and these guys, they paid a significant discount on that, but still, I mean, it's coming out of their own pocket. So they're genuinely interested in this. And like I said, in 2 weeks, we're going to have the guys back on the show with Dave Feldman. We're going to dissect the blood tests in depth. Dave's going to help us talk about the changes between their first blood test and their 30-day follow-up of blood tests. So we're going to have a blood test genuinely before they started the experiment, and they're taking them right at the very end of the experiment before they start switching back over to their old diets or whatever they're going to eat after these 30 days. So that'll be very interesting in 2 weeks. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, definitely subscribe now. We have a lot of ongoing content here, and it's a YouTube first. It's a world first as far as I know, where we're doing a public experiment like this, where we're just putting out the information. Again, when we had the 2 guys on today, it was my duty to not spoil or try and like taint the results. Of course, I gave a little bit of feedback on some of their answers, but overall, I wanted to really stay out of it on purpose. So now that they are gone, I can share a little bit of my reactions, just as a human to human reaction. Nothing professional here, but in speaking to Chase particularly, what I noticed was a bit more focus and clarity on the things that he was saying. Very little stumbling in his words. He seemed very calm in his voice. I don't even know if he's eaten anything today yet, but he was a much different person to speak to today than he was 2 weeks ago. Now, I know he said he's low on energy. I know he said he's kind of dragging ass a little bit, but as far as his mental clarity goes, in his eyes, you could just see there's a bit more connection there. He's connected from his brain to his eyes to his mouth. How he's speaking and everything, he was sharing a little bit more fluidly today. That's just the best way that I can put it, as well as the complexion in his face. I feel that he had a bit more, it could have been different lighting. Exactly. Somebody's talking about the color in his cheeks. It wasn't all one color. It was like a bit more pink, and he just looked like a regular person, I guess. And he even said that he's lost a couple pounds. Still, he hasn't gotten back up to his starting weight, but of course, this is all water weight. So if he's only lost 2 pounds of water weight, that's very impressive. That means that he's actually putting on some sort of size already, because most people are losing about 5 pounds in their first week, just dumping the water weight. And then for Joe's gained 5 pounds. So yeah, Megan, I think so too. I think that if he just were to add in a little bit of carbs and get his appetite up a little bit, I just think there's going to be some adaptation period for him that's going to continue on. 2 weeks is nothing. So he did, and he even pointed out that physically speaking, he's feeling a bit stronger. He's not super hungry all the time. I mean, something is going on there, I think. And I think that at the end, we're going to find the results are going to be more consistent towards the end. So right now, he doesn't really know how to feel. I think by 30 days, he's going to have a much better idea of how he's feeling on a day-to-day basis. And for Joe, God, I feel bad for Joe. Fuck. I feel bad for Joe, guys. I feel like I'm putting him through hell right now. I've been seeing on his Instagram the meals that he posts. They look delicious. I'm trying to be as supportive as I can through there, just like, hey man, good job. Like, that meal looks good, and they really do look good. Joe's the best vegan, the best brand new vegan I've ever seen. But he looks tired. He looks so tired. His eyes, you saw it, his eyes were a little bit more closed today. The last interviews I've had with Joe, he's like peppy and smiling and cracking jokes, and he was just monotone. He was just chilling today. Like, you could tell he was kind of happy to take the back seat today, let Chase pop off, speak a lot. Joe's having some digestive discomfort. That's just my assessment of the 2 guys as I just speak to them. If I didn't know anything else going into this experiment, if I didn't know what they were up to and just met them on the street right now for the first time, that's what I'd say. I'd say Chase was a bit more connected. Joe was a little bit more tired in his speech, and it was just, yeah. You notice at the end when I said, all right, guys, like, I'm going to let you guys go. Maybe Joe had something to do right afterwards, but he didn't say anything for the past 5 minutes. Yeah, drained is the way that I would describe it. Now, maybe he's had a very tough work week. He said he's been traveling. Maybe it's not the diet. But the other times that we've seen Joe on the channel, which has been twice now, he's been pretty peppy, pretty smiley. You know, he's a happy-go-lucky dude. Joe would be a cool guy to hang out with. You could tell. He seems like a fun guy. That's my assessment of them, guys. And I don't know what's going to happen as far as the actual health of the experiment goes. No idea. Something cool, like I said, that they did was they didn't check their blood tests. So they have no idea what the blood tests are showing right now. They have the results. They just haven't actually looked at them. They're going to wait till Dave Feldman steps in, and then we do that together. And that's what I have to say about that today. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think about what you saw today? I want to see some feedback from you all. I couldn't really read too much of the chat. It was going insane. And yes, they're both amazing sports for sure. The vegan is eating. Which vegan? Are you talking about Joe, the old carnivore who's now vegan, or Chase, who is the vegan and now he's eating meat? Because Chase is eating almost all 100% carnivore, like barely any carbs at all. The only carbs he's getting is from trace carbohydrate from his milk and cheese and stuff like that. Yeah, I agree. In 2 weeks, definitely stay tuned for that one, guys. Like I said, subscribe yo ass to this channel right now. Hit the damn button. We need to pump these numbers up. And we have Dave Feldman coming on in 2 weeks, along with the guys. We're going to do some more blood testing. Or blood test reveals. That will be really cool. Both guys should have their channels plugged with their IGs plugged in the description. Hey, there we got Joe. Joe's going to be having more than a few beers tomorrow for night. Hey, Joe, the good news is beer's vegan. Most of it. Enjoy yourself, man. I would totally go for that. Hopefully what I just said right there doesn't totally throw off the results of the experiment, but I'm just giving my upfront observations, I guess. Doesn't mean anything either way. Beer isn't good. Senka, are you an actual robot? I'm genuinely curious. So Dark says cholesterol only goes down on carnivore if you are fat to begin with. Lowering BMI equals lower cholesterol. That is correct. You are correct. Your cholesterol, if you are a healthy BMI and you go from vegan to carnivore, there is a very good chance that your cholesterol levels are going to go up, and it doesn't necessarily mean that that's a bad thing, but that is what's going to happen, more than likely. Cholesterol can go up when losing weight fast. I haven't seen that in what I've researched, but interesting. Eli the Science Guy is asking, Joe is full vegan right now. You almost need alcohol to drown the pain away. Well, he's getting married in the middle of this vegan experiment, so I think that he deserves a beer or two. Yep, trigs go down, HDL goes up. Yep, the HDL, triglyceride to HDL ratio becomes more favorable, typically speaking, for carnivores. Again, that will be interesting to see your blood test, if anything changed within the 30-day period. Dave Feldman is an expert on the triglyceride to HDL ratio situation. I would love to, or I can't wait to have him on the channel and speak more to him about that so we can learn more in detail exactly how important that is, why he thinks the way he does about it. I'm sure it's a very in-depth topic. He's goes in front of very important people and talks about this stuff. Much more important than myself. Robin O seems to have some good advice here for Maja Larson. They say, my advice is just don't listen much to media diet tips. Do your own research and you find out how wrong they are. They always try to frame things to get reads and not views. Sure. Agree. Test on yourself. I believe Dave did a... no, not... You're thinking of Sean Baker, Tiana. Dave Feldman is like a blood research guy who has also tried carnivore and I believe veganism as well. He's done a ton of different tests on himself where he's taken a lot of very high-end blood tests and then he's compared the results and cataloged it all, and he's had other people do the same. He collects blood tests from people. So he's like he's the Goji man of blood tests. My nose is always itchy. I don't know why. If anybody has any tips on that, why my nose is always itchy on the end? Why? You need to get a facial or something. Clean out the pores. I don't think Dave is an actual doctor. I think he has some credentials, but not a doctor. There's no money in healthy people. I agree. Yeah. Possibly pollen. I think I recovered from that. I had horrible pollen issues like a month ago, if you guys remember. No, not the monster bubbles tickling the nose, Megan. The monster is healthy AF, super good for you. Energy drinks are amazing. Everybody should drink them on a daily basis. Monster Energy Can says drink no more than 2 a day. I follow the daily recommendation. 2 per day. You get an itchy nose tip when you drink sugar-free Monster. Well, I haven't had one today, but I had sugar-free Red Bull yesterday. I'm kidding about the 2 per day, guys. I basically drink 1 Red Bull can per day. I do enjoy that, and I drink coffee and Diet Coke. Whatever. Actually, I'm after this Red Bull case, I'm done. Last night, I actually was having a little bit of weirdness going to sleep. I was physically feeling myself in between the zone of sleeping and being conscious, because my physical body was fighting my brain to actually fall asleep. Like, my brain was asleep, but my body was still awake, and I could tell that I was awake still. But my brain was like already starting to dream. But my body's like, nope, you're not going to sleep, buddy. It took a while to go to bed, and it was late too. So I hear you. I hear you. I think we need both sides. We need like the creative side doing certain things, sort of like people like me who don't even necessarily have credentials, but we're just coming up with ideas. We're trying to put them into practice. And then you've got the real scientific dudes like Dave. They're engineers who bring in the numbers and the data, and they really sift through all of that, break it down, catalog it. Everybody's adding their own piece to the puzzle, and I think we need everybody involved here, just to get a very well-rounded perspective on this whole nutrition thing. Who knows? Some of it could be mental too. So quit the bull. Never heard of Ted Neiman, but I do know of Tim Noakes. Eli says, I can safely tell you that most average IQ individuals can make it through medical school or residency, not so much engineering. Do you think really engineering is a quotient of I guess that would be IQ. But I don't if you were to ask me, I don't think IQ tells you how intelligent somebody is. It tells you how their brain works in a particular fashion, like a particular style of thinking, which is very numerical, black and white, sort of just like visual numbers, that type of thing. But I think a lot of intelligence comes across in the ability to take data points and put them together and come up with a conclusion to that, or a solution. To me, that's like really good intelligence, and the ability to communicate that. I find a lot of people, that to me is a well-rounded sense of intelligence, although IQ is measuring something different entirely. Will I live stream with Goji Man? Absolutely. Chase should get coaching from Stephanie Keto. She's the best for keto carnivore adaptation. I don't know about Stephanie Keto person. She's an interesting lady. I don't know about her, but she has maintained very good results throughout the years. I don't have much to say about her results. She's consistent. She's said the same thing for the last 5+ years. Reminds me of a Durin rider, just saying the same thing over and over. She's very much into keto and not carnivore still. So super high fat. I guess her approach works for her. She looks good for her age, for sure. Seems to me in recent years she's put on a little bit of extra fat. I don't know what's going on with that, but she's in her 50s and she looks good. Hell of a lot better than most 50-year-old women. Well, Eli, I agree with you. You're saying that most engineers, seem to be more all-around intelligent than MDs. I think it's easy to dazzle people with numbers, and because being an engineer and thinking in that way does require don't get me wrong, it does require a high horsepower brain, but it's also a very narrowed focus. What I find when I deal with engineers and people of that nature, they are very good in this one area, but they actually are not very well rounded. To me, I feel like they're not very well rounded people. I think they typically lack a lot of certain skills, like social skills. You typically find engineers lacking in, but hey, we need them for sure, and they are smart. Just it's very focused, it's very narrow focus. You notice a lot of engineers, they leave out very basic details a lot of times. Like they could design an amazing experiment, and they could, execute that experiment in such a very high quality way, but they'll forget one very small detail, like that will completely ruin the experiment. And they're just like, oh man, I can't believe I didn't think of that. And somebody who's completely not an engineer or not even that smart could be like, point out the common sense. Like their common sense is lacking a lot of times. Anderson family, who's that? Yeah, Stephanie is over 50. I think she's like 52 or something. Stephanie Keto person. Emotional IQ, exactly. Sweeping generalizations is what I do best. I mean, I am an expert stereotyper, making judgment calls on the fly. You trust me, you want me. If we're in the field of battle, I'm going to calculate that shit. I'm going to get us out of there. I might not be able to recite pi by heart and use that in a mathematical equation. But when it comes to large data sets, large points of interest, and then coming up with a solution, that's what I do. Primary care doctors have low level of intelligence. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that surgeons do have more of that engineering intelligence skill set mindset. It's more clinical. Alva says that's why engineers should pick up a good common sense and intuitive partner to ball ideas with. I totally agree with that. You gotta pick up the person who's complementary to you. If you're gonna get into a relationship, that is. I agree with that, man. You gotta get somebody who's complementary to you. Having somebody who's very similar to you is it's fun because it's like, I don't know. It's exciting and it's fun, but having somebody who's complementary is going to be probably better for you in the long run. Slightly Vegan says, John Keating used to hate Stephanie Keto person. I wonder what he thinks now. Have to ask him. There you go. Danoe has got it figured out. She's got a husband that's engineer minded, and she figures things out, and he carries them out. Surgeons with the jocks, huh? Hand-eye coordination. Interesting. I feel like I'd be a good surgeon. I'm a good gamer. Good mouse coordination. Yeah, I actually watched John Venus's video this morning regarding his injuries and depression. I got about halfway through it, and then I had to start the stream. So I'm not sure exactly... I'm not sure exactly. Charlene Anderson. Engineer. I'll have to look more into her. Possibly get her on. Let's do this. There we go. Much better. I'm a secret gamer, yes. I've played all the games, all of them. Drew, how long did you go to Catholic school? Are you religious to this day? I went to Catholic grade school and have been agnostic for years. Tristan has me rethinking some of this, though. Really interesting. Tristan's getting you to go back to the church, huh? I went from kindergarten through 8th grade, so 9 full years. I did not get confirmed. I dropped out in high school. What's up, Mish? Yeah, John Venus, is he back? Did he leave California yet? It looks like he went back and then is just looks like he went back to Europe and he's filming new videos. I think he said goodbye to his vegan buddies in California, Derek and Brian and Nimai. He said, "Hey guys, it's been a good few years." Yeah, I am noticing the eyes with Derek Simnet. He's a little bug-eyed right now. And John did admit in that last video that his whole business is tied into veganism and fitness. So like not having those things is very tough. Very tough for him. Somebody said that John Venus has depression after injuring his back. Yeah, but I feel like his injury would heal if he was eating a good diet. So that's interesting. John Venus banned you, So Dark? I mean, I don't ban you because you haven't said anything completely stupid yet. I'm not saying you won't get banned. The Game of Operation, I never played too much. I do like that game, though. It's cool. People are saying that Derek's face is aging rapidly. Interesting. Yeah, I'm kind of seeing it in the past couple of years. I feel like once it starts going, it just happens quickly. Yeah. Mish says that she thinks that John just has a clickbaity title. I think a lot of these guys milk it on the way out because they know it's going to get a ton of views. John seems a little bit more honest to his audience, like he wants to share his struggles and things like that. But I mean, what I saw like with Jackson Plantriotic, he was milking that shit like crazy. He was making all kinds of videos, talking crap on us, and then saying I'm considering going to eat meat, and then talking more crap, and then bringing our names up and getting into all the gossip. So Dark says Derek looks fine. His skin color may be off, but that might be low iron. I don't think you can ever get your iron back once you get low iron on a vegan diet. I think you're done for. Uh-oh. Carnivore has diagnosed John Venus. Got no credit. Yes, John is definitely afraid of the vegan backlash. I would be. If I was making 6 figures a year as a vegan, I'd be lying like a motherfucker. I'd be in that restaurant. I'd be having Postmates delivered to my house under fake names. KFC. I saw John eating KFC chicken wings on Venice Beach while Derek and Brian were gone. I hope you got the spy camera out for that one. That would be some good footage. I'll share it here. Make sure you link me. At Drew Morg. Lua says that they think that they're screwed. Still haven't been able to get their iron back to normal. Are you low iron right now on a vegan diet? The hell is wrong with my voice? Lua, are you vegan right now? Your iron is toast, man. You're done. I knew one person that had low iron in real life as a vegan, and they could not fix it on the vegan diet. I think you can fix iron levels as long as I think you can fix them more easily once you leave the vegan diet. That's for sure. I do not know Ravana personally. Elise knows her. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to cut it a little bit short today. It's noon here. I'm going to get a workout in. It's my first day back in a week. My chest is not feeling great. I slept on my chest last night, and it was still giving me pain. I may even take today off. Again, it's really annoying me. I'm just like John Venus. We're all injured out here. It's what happens when you actually use your body and work out. You get little injuries, and they suck. They're annoying. Tune in tomorrow for the Elise interview. I'm going to be having her on the channel. We're going to do a full Drew Morgan style interview. Yeah, Carnivore, you can go back and watch the update. We've already done it. So yeah, we got Elise. If you guys aren't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button now. Good interview coming tomorrow. And next week we also have Mississippi Vegan. Tim from Mississippi Vegan is coming on Wednesday. So he's still vegan. We're going to talk. He's a chef. He's a food photographer. He makes amazing food. Like, I've actually had his food. I'm totally ready for the vegan hate. I welcome the vegan hate. There's nothing that they can say to me that could even affect me 1%. I ignore most of the comments these days. Get a lot of comments now. And whatever. What are vegans going to do? So yeah. Make sure you guys subscribe for sure. Let me know if you need another carny to go vegan for a month. I'll consider. Carnivore, you are willing to go vegan for a month? No. Dude, please tell me that's real. I am tough now, yes. I am so secure. I'm made of bone broth. Lauren Toyota, who's that? Senka, you are allowed to disagree on this channel. Just don't be annoying, and please don't say day one vegan shit. Telling people to read the China study is going to get you blocked. The China study is stupid. We are way past that. Okay? Carnivore, if you do, because my next experiment that I want to do it with people who are already in this health movement. Perfect. We will talk. Elise will be on tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Careful, Carnivore. Joe, stay away. Joe, go do wedding stuff, okay? Go eat your beans and pasta. I need him. Hot for food. She's friends with Mississippi. Okay, cool. I'll ask him about Lauren then when I have him on. When I have Timmy on. Glad you guys know who these people are. Oh, somebody was talking about the religion thing. I wanted to read that comment real quick. More interest in getting me back to the church. Nothing will get me back to church. Catholicism was just superficial and cheesy. Yeah, I mean, I have... Yeah, I guess I won't get into that, but I have people that are deeply, deeply into the church right now. I won't get into specifics, but I'm definitely no closer to going back than I was 10 years ago, 15 years ago when I decided that I was done. I can't get behind any church. They're all businesses to me. That's the way that I look at it. And I see through it. If you want to have a relationship with God and Jesus, that's great. Do it all on your own time. I don't see the reason why we need to go to church and be part of this community. It's very weird to me that you stand up and sit down and stand up and sit down and kneel and pray and say these things as a big group. I mean, something that happened to me when I was like young, I was looking around and everybody's just looking forward at the priest. All right, Hail Father, Hail Mary, so, sins are with me, yes. And I'm just like, everybody's like a zombie saying all this together. It's really weird. Really fucking weird. I know why religion works. I mean, it's a psychological thing. People put all of their faith and they offload all their troubles onto the religion, and then that's good. That's beneficial to people's psyche because they're just like, it's in the hands of God. I can just live my life now. That is terrifically freeing for people. And I think most people need that. I think a lot of people need that. Roman Catholics are not Christians. That is incorrect. It is a part of Christianity. If I was going to be religious, I would be Catholic. Catholics are the most badass. If you're going to be religious, go all the way. Catholics are badass. You know that. At least Catholicism is super old. The Catholic Church is badass. Sure, the priests, they do their little things with the kids, but whatever. But it's pretty badass. Yes, I believe in evolution. I don't know how that's possible to even disagree with. It's not believing in evolution is shockingly ridiculous to me. Equivalent to the Earth being flat. You're insane if you don't believe in evolution. But whatever. Yeah. Let it slide. We'll let it slide. Bad shit happens everywhere. Yeah, Planetary Farm says, as a 12-year-old at church, my brother and I couldn't stop laughing as they were telling you to come forth and wash away your sins. This is what I find interesting. So people in my family, they still go to church, whatever. They very much believe in all this stuff. And they'll go talk to a priest. They might be in their 70s, but they go talk to a priest in the confessional booth, tell them all their sins, like they're such bad people to begin with. They're freaking old grandparents. Like, what are they possibly doing that's bad? You know what I mean? And they tell the priest their sins, and then they pray in the pew or whatever, and then they feel good about their life. I mean, again, it's a relief for them. We need to talk about that. You don't believe in evolution? Oh, no. Joe, don't do it to me. I love you. You're from the South, though, Joe, so it's going to be a little bit easier to... More people are going to go along with that. It's more heavily religious-based. The Bible Belt, if you will. When I've only been to Texas once, to Dallas, and I could not believe how many churches there were. My God. There's a church literally on every corner. Crazy. Primal Edge doesn't believe in evolution. I don't know about that. I think when it comes down to it, he believes that there's evolution going on. Drew Morgan, you traded Catholicism for what? What did I trade it for? Wow, we have a lot of anti-evolutioners here, huh? Carnivore, you're one of them? Many scientists poke holes in the Darwinian evolutionary theory. Doesn't add up scientifically, according to them. I'm no scientist. I'm no philosopher or whatever the hell you need to be to think about that, but I just don't see how... Even if you didn't believe in evolution, which seems weird to me considering we have so many things that are related and slowly morph into other things based on fossil evidence, based on all these things... which are totally reasonable and common sense to me. So let's throw that out. Let's say that you don't believe in that. That's fine. How do we go from evolution not being where it's at to like hardcore religion, God just magically boop, snapped his fingers and everything being here, all set up, the birds and the trees and everything just being that way? I can never wrap my head around that. There's more science to prove a young Earth. We will have to talk more about that, Joe. I think the fossils do prove evolution. I think that kind of obviously proves evolution. I don't understand how that couldn't prove evolution. And I do believe that science is the new mainstream religion, 100%. Robin, I'm with you. Says never heard any plot holes in evolution, to be honest. I'm with you on that. Grady McCurdy. Okay. I'm kind of with Downway on that one too. Honestly, it doesn't affect my day-to-day life, so folks should believe what makes them happy. Just don't try to force it. I know. You want to believe the earth is flat? Fucking go for it. I don't really care. Now, the thing with the vegan thing is, it's great. They can believe whatever they want, but they are actively trying to make it harder for people who consume animal foods to do what they want to do. So they are encroaching on my territory. So, get out of my face with that. Adaptation is not evolution. I mean, how do you explain the single cell organisms like being formed in those acidic, hot cesspools in freaking Africa? Go look that shit up on Planet Earth, that show. They show it all. I don't understand. I don't know. I think that evolution is the only thing that makes it. Let's just say that it's makes the most sense that we can explain. You traded Christianity for veganism and veganism for... What the fuck are you talking about? You're about to get banned for pissing me off. Trust me, there's about 15 years in between... No, more than that. Between my Christianity and veganism. What are you talking about? What kind of hobbies am I into? I used to game a lot. Now I'm kind of getting into cars. Back again into cars. I used to have motorcycles. I used to be into going fast and having fun. But I'm actually moving away from that. What's up, Sid Meister? I'm moving away from the indoor life, and I'm trying to get into a little bit of hands-on cars and all that stuff again. I think it's fun. Who encroaches on the animal's territory? Well, I think we all share the same territory. We got to make do with it, right? So, I'm sorry, Sid. Good thing there's replays. All right, so I'm going to cut the chat here. We're going to go deep into the Darwinian, anti-religion, anti-flat earth, anti-evolution theories. Way too crazy for me. Maybe we'll host a stream on this in the future. Seems like people are kind of into this topic. I, of course, having that kindergarten through 8th grade Catholic backing and going through confirmation and all that stuff. I mean, I didn't actually get confirmed, but I went through the training of it or whatever. So I've got a lot of opinions on that. My whole family's Catholic, so maybe we could talk about that in the future. Joe says he's in. All right, everybody, have a good day, have a good weekend. Subscribe if you haven't already. Elise interview tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I'm going to go on a little bit earlier. I've got Tim from Mississippi Vegan coming on next Wednesday. Joe, Chase, thanks again today. Joe, have a good weekend. Do your wedding, all of that stuff. Carnivore, Primal Edge, Goji Boy, everybody that showed up today, thank you very much. We are going to end the stream here. Have a good Friday. Bye-bye.